Welcome to Sunday's edition of the Final Boss Podcast. Listen, we got a great show tonight, episode number 73. Man, listen, you know, every 25th episode, we have a spectacular special guest. And this week, for episode number 75, we have a genius. I'm gonna call him a genius because he's super intelligent. He's a political comedian, and you can see him all over the DMV. And I know he's done shows in New York, and he's up and down the East Coast. He's even done shows in LA as well. We have the amazing political comedian coming on board this Thursday for our special guest for episode number 75. We have Earl Wyatt. Earl Wyatt, ladies and gentlemen. Earl Wyatt be on the show this Thursday for our special guest, Earl Wyatt. Go check him out, man. Phenomenal individual, super intelligent. Man, I can't wait to see what he brings to the Final Boss Podcast. Let's give him a hand for that. And we will see him on Thursday. Listen. Merch is back. Merch is back. Our number one seller. All leather, baby. All leather. Go get your Final Boss journal. This is for bosses only. This is for bosses only. And I mean it. It's all fresh leather. Look at that. Like fresh cowhide. Like, man, like with lined paper. Man, listen. The quality is exceptional. Go get our number one seller from off of the merch site, which is www.thefinalbosspodcast, one word, too easy, one word, the Final Boss Podcast, one word. The one word isn't a part of the URL, but the URL is www.thefinalbosspodcast. Go get it. Go get our number one seller. Bosses only, right here. The Final Boss Podcast Journal. Go get it. You see that brand right here? This right here, that brand, it's going to be everywhere, baby. It's going to be everywhere. We're talking about cigars, liquor, you name it. You're going to see this. Get familiarized with it. It's coming. I promise you it's coming. It is coming. All right, enough of that. Let's get serious. Let's get serious about tonight's show. Episode number 73. Bribery economics. But before we get into that, listen up. If you're just now tuning in, I have not forgotten about you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to all of our viewers all over the world. Thank you for your support. Man, it's been tremendous. Right now, we're hitting views on a regular that are topping 1 million plus weekly. If you haven't seen it, go to my IG page for the proof of the pudding. Go to my IG page. My IG page is Turbo the CEO. All one word, Queen's English. Turbo, THECEO. That's my Instagram page. Go check out the Instagram page. Right now, we're running around 165,000 followers on it. But the show that I disseminate from here to everywhere else is doing like 1 million plus views on IG. So go check that out, man. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, send us some stars, send us some feedback at the info. Our email is info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. Send us some feedback, man. If you like us, you don't like us, You can say F you, man. Like you don't know what you're talking. Well, I know what I'm talking about because I drop references, scholarly references. That's what I do. So you can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. But you can say F you, bro, or whatever. But listen, tonight's show. Before we get into it, we're gonna get into the brass tacks tonight. Brass tacks. Brass tacks tonight comes from none other than the good book. It's Easter, and this is coming from the good book. We're talking about bribery economics, and here it is. You must not distort justice. You must not show partiality, and you must not accept bribes, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right. Without impartial justice, it would be impossible to live and occupy the land that the Lord your God is giving you. That's going to be Deuteronomy 16 through 20. That's coming from the good book, Deuteronomy 16, verses 18 through 20. Deuteronomy 16, verses 18 through 20. That's our brass tacks for tonight, coming from the good book on Easter. Listen, man, y'all not ready for this show tonight, baby. It's, ooh, y'all not ready. So let's get to it. Welcome, final bosses. That's each and every last one of you, to my smarts. Welcome back to the podcast. And it's the only podcast where we dissect the uncomfortable truths and explore the shadowy corners of the human experience. Today, we're embarking on a 4-hour odyssey into the labyrinth world of bribery economics. It's not going to be 4 hours. It's not going to be 4 hours. I just want to let y'all know it's not going to be 4 hours. It will be an hour though, and we're going to get it in. Grab your strongest coffee, sharpen your wits, and prepare for a deep dive into a topic as complex as it is pervasive. This is going to be epic. I'll give you a few minutes to get your minds together. Smart. Grab your pen and paper, because we're getting ready to go in. And I'm about to set this up so I could see that view. Boom, gotcha. Got you, baby. All right. So let's talk about it. Bribery economics. You're probably thinking like, there's a new word that's trending. No, it's not trending. It probably will be trending after this episode, but it's been around since the beginning of time. Actually, I want to this is in my opinion, I want to predate bribery economics before prostitution was invented. And you're probably wondering like, how can I say that? Smarts, listen. Bribery economics came before prostitution. People say that prostitution is the oldest business in all time. No, the oldest business of all time is bribery economics, right? And I got the proof. So bribery isn't a modern invention. Forget the Roman Empire, which a lot of people think it probably came from. Nope, that's not it. We're going back even further. Much further. Basically, archaeologists have evidence that suggests that forms of bribery existed even in prehistoric societies. And you're probably wondering, Hmm. What is the final boss talking about? Well, think about it. Think about this, my smarts. Think about this. How did early humans negotiate power dynamics and resource allocation without formal legal systems? That's something to think about, right? There's a lot to think about. Often it came down to persuasion, and sometimes that persuasion involved gifts, favors, and promises. Ding, 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 ding. Woo! Woo! I'm going to say that again. Oftentimes it came down to gifts and favors. And you throw a couple promises in there as well, right? You can do that. So consider the intricate social structures of a hunter gatherer or hunter gatherer groups. Think about that, right? We've been taught that in grade school, hunter gathering. A skilled hunter might share extra meat in exchange for assistance with other tasks, creating a system of reciprocal exchange that, in its essence, resembles bribery. In its essence, resembles bribery. Man, let me get my flags out because I'm gonna be throwing flags on myself tonight. For real, for real. Yeah. I got the red, black, and green flags for tonight's conversation. Ask yourself this question. Smarts. Ask yourself this question. What are some examples of early forms of bribery in different prehistoric cultures? Hmm? 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 Anthropological studies reveal various examples across different societies, highlighting the universality of this behavior. This wasn't just about material goods. Nope, wasn't just about material goods. It was about securing alliances, influencing decisions, and maintaining social order. The fundamental principles of bribery, exchange value for influence, man, these things were already at play, baby. Listen, already at play. We had to negotiate. We had to. You want what I got? I got what you need. Let's barter. And then, hey, you need something else? Yeah. Well, how about you do such and such, and you do such and such, and I have witnesses that you did such and such because you need such and such, right? Now I got you in my pocket. Bribery economics, baby. Bribery economics. Everyone is talking about the art of the deal. I got the art of the deal. Flags on a plane. I got the art of the deal. Now let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the ancient world, right? Let's fast forward to ancient Mesopotamian code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known legal codes already addressed bribery. Early form, ancient, suggesting its prevalence even then. Smarts, ask yourself this. How did ancient legal systems attempt to regulate bribery? And how effective were their attempts? How effective were they? Because it was a prominent thing. I'm telling you right now, it was a prominent thing. The penalties were often severe, but the practice persisted, as it does today. The Roman emperor, as we've touched on, was rife with corruption. Bribery was endemic at all levels of society, from petty officials to emperors themselves. Now, smarts, here's another question for you. What were some of the most notorious examples of bribery in the Roman Empire? And what were their consequences? Right? What were their consequences? The sheer scale of the Roman Empire made it incredibly vulnerable to corruption, and the lack of transparency and accountability exacerbated the problem. Ding, 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 ding. Hmm. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. The consequences ranged from inefficient governance to outright tyranny. 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 Tomato, tomato. We see similar patterns in ancient China, India, and other civilizations. The presence of bribery wasn't a sign of social failure, it was often an integral part of how power operated. How power operated. These are some great points, man. These are some great and fantastical points. And I'm going to tie it on all together because that's what we do when we on here having the most difficult of conversations. And okay, I see you people. Thank you for chiming in. All right. Good people out there chiming in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Green flag for you guys for chiming in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Boom. Y'all see I got the green on. It's Easter, baby. I'm hype. Super hype. But let's continue. Bribery has evolved alongside technology and societal structures. The methods have become more sophisticated, but the underlying principle remains the same. Now, smarts, ask yourself this. How have the methods of bribery changed over time? And what technological advancements have facilitated these changes? I need to drink some water. Nothing like some refreshing, high quality H2O to quench the thirst. The methods have become more sophisticated, but the underlying principle remains the same. The underlying principle remains the same. From the simple exchange of coins to complex financial transactions involving shell corporations and offshore accounts. The tools of bribery have adopted to the times. The rise of the internet and cryptocurrency. We talked about crypto almost on every episode. Has opened up new avenues for bribery, making it easier to conceal transactions and evade detection. Now, smarts, you're probably asking yourself, what are some examples of how technology has been used to facilitate bribery in the modern era? Well, listen, we're going to discuss this, of course, because this is what we do. The use of encrypted messaging apps, offshore bank accounts, and cryptocurrencies to conceal illicit payments. All these things are happening right now. Right now. The anonymity offered by these technologies makes it more challenging to track and prosecute bribery cases. Ding, ding, ding. Bribery economics, baby. Full circle. It's coming full circle. Let's dive deeper. And as we as we delve deeper into the economic principles at play. Bribery is a market transaction, but it's a market distorted by information, asymmetry, and power imbalances. Now, smarts. How does information asymmetry affect the dynamics of bribery transactions? How? Well, the briber often has more information than the bribed, creating an uneven playing field. That's what it's about, right? That's what it's about. So, we've heard about parties, right? We've heard about these elite parties where people are recorded, things and witnesses are available. Lots of NDAs are signed, but it doesn't stop there, right? People have these private islands, they're throwing private parties, they're shipping folks in for dollar values, committing all sorts of crimes, and people are being recorded. People are on lists. Flight plans have been revealed. Now, I'm not saying anything that's not already readily available. I'm just tying it together to the bribery economics, right? Because if I got something on you and you're a political figure and you don't want that to get out, I could bribe you. You in my pockets, babe. You in my pockets, right? Yeah, go ahead and let I got this company and I need you to go ahead and get the lobbyists on top to push this company forward for these contracts. I need you to make that happen. You don't want to? You must have forgot. Let me make this call quick. Yo, you got that you got those record. Yeah, I got those recorded. You ready to move forward? Yeah, call all the networks to let them know that we're gonna. Oh, you got to change your heart. Oh, never mind. He changed his mind. We're gonna move forward. Yeah, you're in my pocket. So, smarts. How do power imbalances influence the price and likelihood of bribery transactions? I just gave you an example of that. Those with more power can demand higher bribes, and those with less power may be more willing to accept them out of desperation or fear. Let that touch your soul. Out of out of desperation and fear. Smarts, here's another question for you. What are some of the economic models used to analyze bribery and corruption? Of course, and we're going to talk about it. Well, we're exploring game theory models, principal agent models, and other frameworks used to understand the incentives and consequences of bribery. We're going to be discussing the concept of rent seeking. Rent seeking. If you haven't heard that term, go check it out. Take notes. Rent seeking, where individuals or groups use their influence to extract economic rent from the system. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the number one currency right now in the world. What's the number one currency, Smarts? Let me see somebody drop it in the chat. What's the number one currency in your opinion? What's the number one currency right now in the world? Number one. I'll give you a couple minutes to think about it. I'm gonna drink some more of my high quality H2O. Mm. Refreshing. I feel like I could do a commercial. Do I have a commercial voice? Like my professor told me I have a great voice for narration. I was pleasantly pleased. It's like that guy that says sensational. Or maybe like it goes like sensational. He has his voice is heavy baritone. My voice is sensational. I don't know. Tell me what you think. All right. Anyway, number one currency in the world, in your opinion. I'm gonna tell you my opinion. The number one currency in the world right now is political capital. Political capital. If you're not familiar with what political capital is, man, go do some research on political capital. That's the number one capital or currency in the world right now. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to focus on political dimension because bribery is a major factor in how many political systems operate worldwide. Smarts. I keep asking you guys questions, man, because I want you to get engaged. How does bribery affect the stability and legitimacy of political systems? Ask yourself that question, right? How does bribery affect the stability and legitimacy of political systems? Well, I'm going to tell you. One, it undermines democratic institutions. You think, oh, you thought it was a democracy? Not so. Not so much. Not so much. It erodes public trust. We see that happening worldwide and creates an uneven playing field. Smarts. What are some examples of how bribery has been used to influence elections, legislation, and policy decisions? Come on, Smarts. Where you at? Where you at, man? I need your responses. Okay. Well, let's examine case studies from various countries, highlighting this very point, highlighting the different forms bribery takes and its impact on political outcomes. How do different political systems vary in their vulnerability to bribery? How? We could do a compare and contrast on different political systems, examining the factors that make some more susceptible to bribery than others. I'm not going to do that. That's for y'all to go do. I know the answer, and I'm not here to give you all of the answers. I'm here to help you with your perspective. That's why I'm here. We can also discuss the role of campaign financing. I gave you an example of lobbying and other forms of political influence that perpetrate bribery. Right? You think you know, but you don't. You think you know, but you don't. There's a fight going on right now with the world's economies. With world economies. Talking about the big word that starts with a T. Tariffs. Tariffs. So let's get into the nitty gritty of the economics. Because sorry about that. Because bribery is a market and a marketable transaction, pure and simple. It's a supply and demand equation where the commodity is influence. Ask yourself, what's the price? That's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about monetary value, not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the perceived value of the influence. What factors influence? The price of the bribe. The price of the bribe. The risk involved and the desperation. We talked about desperation, man. We talked about desperation. Desperation of the briber. The perceived likelihood of getting caught and the potential gains it has. It's a complex calculation. Think about this. What are the opportunity costs of not bribing? And how do they vary across different contexts? In some situations, the cost of not bribing might be relatively low, a minor inconvenience. In others, it could be catastrophic, especially when it affects world leaders. World leaders. The loss of a multi-million dollar contract, imprisonment, or a death. The potential gains, on the other hand, can be astronomical. As you can actually see, some of those things are on full display and more to come. I got a great feeling that more stories of bribery influence will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I don't know. I just want to get ahead of it. And that's why we're here. And that's why the risk is often worth it for those who are willing to play the game. But of course, there's always the risk of getting caught. But how often does that happen? When you have such influence and people are compelled to be around you, and you put people in awkward situations, and we're not just talking about one or two people, we're talking about hundreds, hundreds of those who may be in power, leaders, celebrities, elites, you name it. And you're the power broker who is bribing or has the ability to bribe these people of influence. You're the power broker. You can get caught, but you can leverage it. And we may be seeing that play out as we speak. It's a leverage game. right? The penalties can range from high fines, imprisonment, to social ostracism and reputational ruin. We see people, reps, get ruined all the time, but we're also starting to see people rebound from those reputation from that reputation ruin. We're starting to see people rebound from that. And I've never I haven't seen many do it, but it's happening. So, we talked a lot about bribery economics, the influence, causes, history of it. Let's talk about the types. But there are many different types. And some can be small and some can be large. The first one we're going to talk about is petty bribery. Petty bribery. And many of you are probably accused of this, especially beautiful ladies out there. I know this for a fact. You get in a speeding ticket, you get pulled over by the police. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. Hmm. You know where I'm going with that. And you get out of the ticket for whatever reason, other than paying for the ticket. Yeah, that's bribery. That's petty bribery. Then there's grand bribery, where we're right now we're grand bribery. We're talking we talked about petty bribery, right? And many of us are accused of that, or have actually committed it, I should say. Then you have grand bribery. Grand bribery, we're talking about millions of dollars influencing and shaping anything from national to international policy, shaping elections, and even starting wars. Starting wars. Yes, bribery can start wars. And I don't want to get into that part, but it can happen. And it has happened. And then there's everything in between. Everything in between, right? Like my everything in between. Everything in between. Smarts, what are some subtle forms of bribery that often go unnoticed? You think about gifts to politicians. We've seen that. A lot of talks about that in last year alone, where politicians receive gifts, trips, private jets, vacations. And it wasn't just politicians. Allegedly, there were uh, some court justices that had um, some lavish vacations that was given to them, along with private jets and things of that nature, and vacations. Yeah, paid for by lobbyists or those of influence. Consulting fees that far exceed the actual services rendered. I've seen that. I've seen that with my own eyes. They're often difficult to detect, but they can have a profound impact. Now, smarts, how do these subtle forms of bribery differ from more overt forms? The key difference lies in the level of concealment and the difficulty of proving intent. Proving intent. Now, let's talk about the political implications. Bribery is a corrosive force in many political systems. How does bribery undermine democratic institutions? It distorts the political process, undermines public trust, and creates an uneven playing field. I said that earlier. It allows wealthy individuals and corporations to exert undue influence on policy decisions, often at the expense of the public good. Now, smarts, ask yourself this. What are some examples of how bribery has influenced major political events? Go Google that question. Go Google that question. I'm going to repeat the question. What are some examples of how bribery has influenced major political events? Here's some examples. You've seen it. You've seen the campaign finance scandals. You've seen lobbying efforts that result in favorable legislation. Mhm. Or even instances of outright, wow, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Vote buying. Vote buying. You, it's not new. What that individual did during this last voting season, offering people $1 million for voting, it's not new. It's not new. It is not new. This isn't a systemic problem, more like isolated incidents. But I will say, in my opinion, it is a systemic issue and it requires a multi-pronged to address a multi-pronged approach to address those issues. So what can be done about it? What are some effective strategies for combating bribery and corruption? What can we do about it? Will increasing transparency, would that help? Stricter regulations, stronger enforcement, and independent oversight are all crucial. But because bribery economics is not anything new and has been around since the beginning of time, how do you combat something like that? How do you combat something like that? Do we gut the entire system? Do we gut the entire system? That is a very, very good question. Gutting the entire system. International cooperation is also essential, as bribery often transcends national borders. We're talking about global policy, global regulations. Keep closing one eye for favors so we can get agendas, legal or illegal agendas, pushed through. Right? What are some of the challenges in that and combating bribery on a global scale? Honestly, unless the host, if honestly, we have to gut the whole system. We would have to gut the whole entire system. The whole entire system is corrupt. I said it. The whole entire system is corrupt. There's a lack of uniform legal standards, one, the difficulty of gathering evidence, two, and the power and influence of corrupt individuals all pose substantial obstacles. Three, but it's a fight worth fighting. Who's ready for the fight? Who's ready to step up? A fair and transparent political system is essential for a healthy democracy. Fair and transparent political system is fair for a healthy democracy. Now, it's a huge fight. It's a huge fight for those who deem it worthy. Well, we just continue on the path we're going down. But now with technological advances, it would almost deem it impossible to stop the bribery economics. Almost impossible. You're correct. The political, thank you for that, Smarts. I see you. One of my smarts stated, the political system has never been fair and transparent. Thank you. Let me respond to them real quick. Listen. Thank you for your comment. Boom. I talk to my folks, man, while we are live. I'm talking to my people, my smarts out there who responding and giving us great feedback. But you're right, most parents. Yeah. Hey, listen, shout out to the smarts. Listen, most people aren't transparent. Why would our political system represent that? That is correct. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate you. The fight against bribery is a global challenge. Smarts. This is my last question for you. What are some of the international initiatives aimed at combating bribery and corruption? Well, they have the OECD Anti-Bribery Convention, which is a UN convention against corruption and other international efforts to combat bribery. But their political, oh man, their political challenges in enforcing anti-bribery laws on a global scale, especially if the bribery economics is running the political platform. The legal standards, judicial issues, evidence gathering, all those play a role. There aren't enough NGOs, whistleblowers, and investigative journalists to expose or combat. But I believe in the will of the people. I believe that the will of the people will see it through and see past the bribery economics. That makes me hopeful because together we could come up with promising strategies for preventing bribery in the future. We might have to use technology, get some technological solutions, right? High level ethical blockchain technologies, institutional reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability. You know, I always provide resources, and I'm gonna have some resources at the end of the conversation, right? I'm gonna have some information available for you on this very topic at the end. But, you know, we talked about the history of it and how we went back before time itself. It affected even, it affected, now that I'm thinking about it, it affected the Industrial Revolution. Think about the monopolies of that era, the shady deals. There weren't enough backroom handshakes. Mm, don't get me started. Don't get me started. There was once a plot, and this is my opinion. There was once a plot that, ooh, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. Hold on. Ooh, that's not good. There was a plot to buy America in its totality. The landmass was for sale, and the riches of the rich were plotting to buy the land. If they were able to do that, can you imagine what type of influence that would have had on our country? But let's just say the methods now, because of technical advances, have become more sophisticated. But the underlying principle remains the same. But we can come together to see the scale of it all, the scale of the technology that can be used to facilitate it, these changes. Maybe adding a high level of legal scrutiny. But in my opinion, the core of the human desire for influence remains the same at its core. So we just talked through a whirlwind. We just did a quick whirlwind tour through the world of bribery economics. Yes, it's complex, often morally ambiguous, and undeniably fascinating. From ancient civilizations to modern day politics, desire for influence has driven human behavior for a millennia. But understanding the economics of economic bribery is crucial to understanding true and absolute power dynamics. But in the private sector, and perhaps even more importantly, in the political arena, it's a system that needs to be constantly scrutinized and reformed to ensure fairness and transparency. Fairness and transparency. It comes down to ethics. Comes down to ethics and who's control of said ethics. And that's our show. That's our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us. My smarts, my final bosses out there. stay vigilant, stay informed, and try to stay on the right side of the law. Oh man, that right there, I'm laughing to myself. But man, some of tonight's resources and references come from the GIF, how the creative economy is transforming the way we live, work, and think by Adrian Waldrich. Adrian Waldrich. Blowing the Whistle, How to Report Fraud and Corruption by Deborah Rode. Deborah Rode. The Corruption Report, a global overview of corruption by Transparency International. Those are a few of the references, man, for tonight's show. Man, you guys are amazing. Like I said at the beginning of the show, thank you, thank you, thank you. I need you guys to stay balanced, stay equal, and stay smart. I also need you guys to go pick up our number one seller, the Final Boss Podcast Journal book made out of high quality leather. Smells amazing. Listen to it. High quality. Our number one seller from www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. We have shirts, we have pins, we have everything, man. Go check it out. Support us as we support you. Support us as we support you. You can see us each and every Sunday and Tuesday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. with Thursday being our special guest episode. And this week, we have none other than the political comedian Earl Wyatt this Thursday. 9 p.m. And each and every Tuesday, we have the Sensei. We have the Sensei, where we dive in talking about technological advances to include AI, Bitcoin, and anything under the sun where it involves technology. That's with the Sensei. We're on Facebook, StreamYard, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. Go check us out on all of those channels and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel for all your viewing pleasures. I need to drink again. I'm sorry. It's water. There's no crying. It's water. Boy, you think talking for an hour straight is easy? It's not. It isn't. Trust me. Trust me on that. But go check out the YouTube channel, man, and all the other places where you can find us at the Final Boss Podcast or at the Final Boss _podcast. We're expanding, and we're going to continue to expand. But like I said earlier, about a couple minutes ago, that was our show tonight. We enjoyed giving you this information. I hope it resonates with you and touches your soul. Happy Easter, everyone. Y'all have an amazing week. We'll see you guys on Tuesday with the Sensei. Have a great time and good night.